Back here on the Sports Buzz, as presented by the Milford National Bank and Trust Company. You can bank online at milfordnationalonline.com. We are live in the NewEnglandFatLoss.com studios. Matt Romling alongside Craig D'Alessandro, and we love punctual. And he's also early. Maybe he's early. We'll have to ask the Nipmuc teachers if he's early at all his classes as well. We're very excited to be joined in studio by our next guest. He is a track standout for Nipmuc, and he competed last night. Kevin Hack of Nipmuc competed last night in the Division IV championships over at the Reggie Lewis Center in Roxbury, and Kevin now joins us in studio here on the Sports Buzz. Kevin, first of all, thank you so much for coming in today. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me, Matt.
Well, it's terrific to have you in, and, well, 3 in a row. And just to kind of set the stage, in the high jump last night, you win it last night at the Reggie Lewis Center. That had to be thrilling. And the mark was 6'4", is that correct?
Yeah, 6'4".
So essentially, to give our listeners an idea of what that means, and Craig too, we were talking about this before you came in, you essentially jumped over me last night. I used to be 6'4". I'm getting old, so I'm down to about 6'2.5". But once upon a time, Kevin, I was 6'4". So you essentially jumped over me. When you look at, I'll stand up. When you look at me standing up, that's pretty impressive, right? You jumped square. Could you do it right now in studio? Just jump right over me? Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe, but the ceilings are a little low, so we'll see.
We'll talk about the event last night and kind of what was going through your mind as you got prepared for it. And to win it as a sophomore and a junior, the pressure, right, to come back, you know what, I'm a senior now. I'm supposed to be at my best this senior year. I've got to win it again, right? What was kind of going through your head as you got ready?
You know, winning it as a sophomore and junior, that was like a dream come true. Would have never thought it would happen. But going in as a senior, there was so much pressure in my mind, more on myself. I put it on myself to really live up to the potential that I had, the bar that I had set high.
Right.
Sophomore and junior year, no pun intended.
Right.
But I mean, really, I just had to clear my mind. It took about 2 days, really, of preparation just to settle myself down enough just to really get into the moment and more or less enjoy it, because the senior year, last year, going to have to enjoy it more than I'm going to have to do anything. So it was a great experience, and coming out with a win was just a bonus.
So how about the competition last night? I mean, how much of that, I think from a track standpoint, right, you're just worried about what your individual number is, right? How much do you concern yourself, if you do it all, with the other? Obviously, at the championships, you've got the best of the best that you're competing with. How much of that does that factor in, or does it at all when you're getting ready?
Oh, absolutely, it factors in a lot. I mean, preparing for it, you're just looking at your competition, what they're capable of doing, and obviously you're trying to outperform them, but at the same time you're trying to go for a personal best, and you're trying to outperform yourself and get a new personal best or a new personal mark. So overall, there's about 2 battles that you're facing, one with the competition, one with yourself. But I mean, I try to tone it out as much as I can and just focus on my personal experience and how I'm doing individually.
Talking with Nipmuc's Kevin Hack, winner last night at a high jump at the Division IV championships over at the Reggie Lewis Center. Your third straight time going over there and your third straight time winning it. Talk about the atmosphere over there. It's if people haven't been to it and you guys get a chance to compete there, it's a terrific venue and a great place to compete. It must have been pretty exciting there last night.
Oh, absolutely. It's always terrific to jump in front of thousands of people. There was a total of about 900 athletes competing there.
Wow.
And then you add the parents, the coaches, and all the spectators that just came in general. It's always a terrific atmosphere. There's so much adrenaline running when you're in the middle of the whole entire arena because, I mean, high jump's the dead center and everyone's eyes are always on you. So it's always a little bit of a thrill, and I always enjoy the experience.
Talk a little bit about your career as a high jumper. Quite accomplished, obviously. Your third straight victory last night in that high jump event. When did you start doing it? When did you realize that you could literally that you had the ability to literally jump over a 6'4" person if you wanted to?
It started about freshman year. End of the year, I kind of started jumping about 5'10", and I didn't go to the state championship that year because that was qualifying height, so I was like, I didn't think much of it. Coming back sophomore year, I quit basketball.
Right.
And then little did I know, I went from 5'10", and I jumped up to a 6'6" height by the end of that season, and then all of a sudden I had won a championship, and I was like, this might be my thing.
So, this might be what I should do.
Yeah, so I gave it a shot, and it worked.
Now, when you were playing basketball, were you able to dunk? Obviously, was that something you had tried, or you sort of?
I had the height. I had the height for the ability to.
But
dunk,
a lot of times people forget the other aspect because you got to be able to palm the ball. So, like, you could dunk a volleyball probably, but yeah, having the basketball, and then of course people don't realize too, going up with two hands versus one is a little bit more difficult. So you really do need to be able to palm it.
Yeah, that was always my issue. I got smaller hands than the average guy my size, so I can't quite palm a ball yet.
Let's talk a little bit more about the championships last night. And you guys were also, we were talking about it, some controversy. You guys were also, you also had some other teammates there last night, but difficulty with another team for them last night, right?
Yeah, in our 4x2 team, we were seated like 27th, I believe, which isn't too bad considering we had 3 rookies on the team who were in first year in their track season. So that's great just for them even to make it. And we had a good start. We were in third in the race, and then we bumped into another team, and then my teammate, being a rookie, didn't quite know that he could keep going, so I had to yell to him to keep going, and once he got going, then we caught back up. But we weren't able to get a good time. We lost about 5 seconds overall in that time. But
the other team was disqualified, though, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Oh, good. Good. How dare they bump into you guys? What are they doing? Well, talk a little bit more, kind of what was it like going to the event, getting ready for it, and then the long trip back, but then knowing after winning the event, hey, I'm going to get to compete again.
Going into the event, a little nerve-wracking going in because I had
I can imagine.
Yeah, had 2 wins under my belt. I mean, I was putting so much pressure on myself just to get that 3rd win. But the experience, as always, was just amazing. Getting to share it this time with my teammates was always great, and after winning is always just the most relaxing, exciting moment where you get to compete the next weekend and you get another shot at it to improve your mark.
Well, talk a little bit about your coaches and maybe some of the people you've worked with over the years. This, of course, your senior year, and you're able to cap it last night with your 3rd straight win in the high jump. What's it been like to run track at Nipmuc, and how's it been overall for you?
Oh, it's been a tremendous experience. I mean, last year, freshman year through junior year, I had the ability to work alongside Kurt Robakevich, who was a New England champion in the triple jump, and I had a couple of the teammates, Richie Shalosky, who went to Worcester State now for shot put, and Nicole Murphy, who's up at UMass Lowell. So those are 3 tremendous athletes that I had the ability to work alongside with, and then the coaching staff is terrific. I mean, they're so personable. They're great. They're like family at this point, and it's just one big family over there at Nipmuc. I mean, smaller teams now, but it's just still a great experience just to run track there.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up next. You got the All-States coming up next Saturday, is that correct? And so you'll be back at the Reggie Lewis Center for that. What do you expect coming up for next weekend?
Oh, I expect the best of the best competition. We got somebody who's jumping 6'10", so I mean,
oh no,
yeah, that's gonna be pushing me right there to bring out the best in me. So I'm excited about that.
Well, we don't want to let any state secrets out here on the program, but when you're practicing, what has been your best, and what are the type of heights that you've been shooting for? Obviously, the winner last night was 6'4", right?
Yes, the winning height was 6'4" last night. This whole season has been preparing for a peak at hopefully getting 6'10". So I've been preparing myself to jump 6'10", and hopefully I can bring out the best of myself by facing a better opponent. And I'm hoping to aim for 6'8", 6'10", and hopefully that'll out-edge him.
Well, I don't want to get too technical for listeners, but I do want to ask you a little bit about technique at the high jump, because it is interesting, to say the least, the technique you have to have. And what's the most vital part of the whole setup? Is it the speed when you're beginning to jump? Make sure you get the right acceleration. I guess from a little bit of a technical standpoint, without getting too in depth in it. What is the real key to a solid jump? And what did you do so well on the winning jump last night?
That's a tough one. When I think about it, really, you're only given about 10 steps on average for high jump, whereas in any other event like long jump, you're given about 16. So I think acceleration is a key point there. That's the hardest part to really achieve, because you're only given about 10 steps to.
That's not a lot of time to accelerate at all.
And you're trying to get up to about 85-90% speed before you're taking off to achieve the maximal amount of force. And that's definitely something that plays a huge factor. If you're not getting up to speed, then you're really not going anywhere, because all that speed ends up adding up to force, and then if you're not going to apply enough force, then you're going nowhere. So
What about the flexibility of it, too? Because you do have to do the contortion aspect of it in the air when you're sort of twisting your body in the proper way. I would think flexibility is a huge part of that. Is that something you have to work on a great deal?
Absolutely. Personally, I do have to work on it. I'm not a very flexible guy.
But you're pretty tall, so the same thing happens to me. I mean, wait till you get to 40. My hamstrings are like a banjo. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's tough. My back definitely is one of the most flexible parts of my body because, I mean, as you'll see in high jump, we have to bend our body over the bar in order to get our center of gravity to pass under the bar. So we're doing quite a bit of back-breaking work.
To say the least. So a lot of low back activities as well. So your sports career overall at Nipmuc, you mentioned that you were on the basketball team before focusing on indoor track. I would imagine you'll be doing outdoor track as well in the spring. Any other sports or activities, or are you turning your attention to the spring season coming up for outdoor?
Actually, yeah, I'm done with all my other sports. I played soccer for 4 years. We had some good runs.
You had a pretty good run this year, if memory serves. Did you not?
Yeah, we've our third straight year making it back to the Central Mass tournament Central Mass championship. But we just came up short. But I mean, what can you do there? You're just facing the best of the best. I mean, whatever happens, happens. So it was a good run. Yeah,
that must have been pretty exciting. Talk a little bit about that soccer team, how exciting that was this year. You guys certainly had a good unit and quite a run, multiple season run, getting over to deep into the Central Mass tournament.
Yeah, it was a great run being able to play my senior year in the Central Mass Championship alongside my best friends and my buddies. We had a blast out there. I mean, Douglas, they were going in, I think they were like 17-1. They were a great team. So we were going and hoping that we could out-edge them. We knew all the players. We had played them twice in the regular season, and I mean, we were just going out there, guns loaded. We were trying to outplay them, but in the end, I mean, they came out on top just by one goal, and we were happy just to get within one goal of them. But I mean, it's always sad to come up short of the victory there.
How about the underclassmen on that team? What do you think for going into next fall for the soccer team? It's obviously a lot to carry on with the deep tourney runs you guys have had for multiple seasons in a row now. How do you like the state of Nipmuc soccer going into the fall?
It's an interesting question because we had about 8 seniors starting that graduated, but we had such young talent. We had freshmen starting, we had sophomores starting, and then we had the juniors starting. So overall, I think they're going to be able to build on that, and they're going to be able to come back and hopefully get back to another Central Mass championship, I believe.
All right, that's great. Well, we'll put that down for a prediction. You didn't put any pressure on them at all. That's perfect, Kevin. That's terrific. Talk about the spring season coming up in track and kind of what you'll be doing there and then we're going to get to the exciting announcement that you had last week. We'll get to that in just a second. But how are things looking for the spring?
The spring's looking good. Right now I'm preparing myself. This indoor track season has kind of been in preparation for the spring. Yep. I'm kind of building up to peak in the spring more or less. So I'm looking to kind of bring out a couple more events, maybe the 200 as well, and maybe long jump. But high jump, I'm looking to hopefully get 610 for sure in the outdoor, and then maybe get another outdoor championship under my belt too.
Which one's the better conditions to be able to do to maximize your high jump? Obviously, sometimes controlled conditions are better. You tell me.
It's tough. The surface is usually better in outdoor because you're always consistent with the same surface, whereas in indoor, some days I'm jumping on a wooden gym floor, and some days I'm jumping at Reggie Lewis, so you don't quite get that balanced surface.
Right. Forget about that aspect of it. Yes.
Yeah. So when I think about it, really, I think outdoor is easier because you're not adapting to a surface every time. You're just more or less on the same terrain. So I definitely think outdoor is easier to adapt, but it's also more competitive because more athletes come out of basketball and then they join in. So
sure.
Yeah, you get that tougher competition too, so that really pushes you as well.
So you'll be doing the long jump and the 200 are also events that you would run this season and also will run in the spring?
Yeah, I believe, I'm trying to do 4 events. I'm not sure what that's going to be. It might be long, high, 200 and 4x1. But we'll see. I mean, it really depends on how I do this season, how well conditioned I am, and what the competition is. So,
well, it was a pretty exciting day last week at Nipmuc, National Letter of Intent Day. You were a part of that. You'll be not going too far away either, as you'll be running track over at Assumption. And you got the Assumption Greyhound shirt on today. How excited are you for that? But before that, tell us a little bit about the process of deciding where you would go.
Oh man, that was the toughest process of my life. Yeah,
it's nice to have options, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely was. For a while, I mean, I had my dream set on going D1, but really, when I kind of came down to it, I started looking at what I wanted to do as a future, and I wanted to take a pre-med path, and no better place in Worcester to do that. And plus, I got the ability to run track with nice and close to home. My parents get to come out and see me run too, so that's always a plus. It's going to be a great program to join. I already got friends on the team, so it's going to be exciting just to jump right in there and know a couple people, and it'll be nice. It'll be like home almost.
So maybe the eyes on UMass for medical school is the hope. Getting the pre-med up there in Assumption. That's not a bad plan to be on.
Yeah.
To say the least. What were some of the other schools that you were looking at before you decided on Assumption?
Yeah, I had a couple. It was URI, UMass Lowell, UMass Amherst, and then as well Assumption. And then in the end, I just had my eyes set on Assumption. So
I imagine you got to spend some time with their track coach and with their track program. What's it like over there, and what did you like best about it when you headed over there for your visit?
What I like best about it is right off the bat they got a coach from our DVC, our conference. Yeah, so he's a high jumper from Sutton, and right off the bat I just clicked with him. He's a younger coach too, so I mean right there you kind of get that that connection. And your head coach, Stacey Wentz, she seemed like she's got a great plan for the future. I mean, she's just turned the track team around, and they broke like 11 records the other week for their track program. They're really on a uphill, what's it called?
That's the uphill trajectory.
Yeah. So it's looking great for them. I'm glad just to be joining them next year and hopefully join that progress. And I'm excited about it. It's not much more to say. Like, it's just exciting in general. Yeah.
Sky's the limit for freshmen in that program. How do they sort of run things from that regard? And obviously a steep learning curve when you come in as a frosh, and then you'll have to worry about all your pre-med classes too. You'll be busy.
Yeah, I'll definitely be busy.
Because people forget too, when you play sports, it's great to be able to play sports and be on a scholarship and all that, but it's like having a job. I think people forget. Obviously it's a job you love to do, so that makes it easier, but you've got a full-time job, so to speak, plus all your scholastics, and I'm not trying to say woe is me, but it's a lot to take in and a lot to deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for the challenge. I mean, I've always been one for challenges, and when it comes to pre-med, I mean, I love medical classes. I love science classes, anatomy, any of those classes. I love it. For me, I step up to the challenge, and just having the ability to work out as well with a team and have a family behind you is just going to make it that much easier, because for me, sports is like my escape. It's like where I relax, and I can kind of just balance everything between sports and school. So it's going to make it much easier being able to join a sports team and do school at the same time.
That's good advice for young athletes, because I think back to some people, maybe myself, I found it stressful, that it wasn't a relaxing endeavor all the time, that, you put a lot of pressure on yourself to do so. And you clearly put pressure on yourself, because that's how you succeed, by doing that to some degree. But it's interesting to hear you describe it that way, that once you're out there on the track, that's your me time. That's your chance to sort of relax and hone in and really enjoy yourself. That must really be sort of the secret to your success a little bit. Is that something that you think a lot of athletes, mentality that could work for a lot of young athletes as well, to treat it that way, to think, okay, this is my favorite part of the day. Enjoy myself. Don't get too stressed out about what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're out there and you're a student athlete and you're just trying to kind of find that balance, honestly, if you find a sport that makes you kind of settle down and just be happier out in the field, that's a sport you need to stick with. You need to continuously do that. You need to just kind of settle down and enjoy it, because when you're balancing sports and school, I mean, it's tough because homework and everything and tests and quizzes, you're always stressed out. But when you're on the field, you just have nothing else to think about except for what you're doing, and you're just in the moment. So to me, it's nothing better than playing a sport.
All right, let's talk about the All-States before we let you go next week one more time again. What time is it next Saturday, and when will you be headed over there?
Oh, it's got to be an early morning meet, I believe. Maybe 9:30 start time, so we'll probably have to I'm about a 50-minute to an hour drive in the morning, so maybe you have to leave around 7 o'clock, 7:30 just to get there. Yeah, it'll be an early morning, but it's always fun. I mean, All-States is amazing just to watch as well, not even to compete. You get to see the best of the best athletes competing. So.
I wanted to ask you about that. That must be really the part of the treat of it, to not only get there yourself, but then to sort of take stock a little bit, look around at the caliber, and there'll be a lot of young track stars from around the area competing in that next week, more than a couple. But I tell you, the caliber athletes, the best of the best, it must be pretty inspiring. And try not to get caught up in it too much, too, right? You start watching somebody, you got to remember, I got to compete in a minute.
Yeah, that's definitely. My dad actually gave me a great word of advice. I mean, don't get caught up in the emotions of the other athletes, because if you're watching what other people are doing, then all of a sudden you're gonna get caught up in their emotions. Maybe you see someone trip on the track, and then there goes their season, and then you feel for them, and all of a sudden you're losing your focus. So what's key is for track is you really got to focus on yourself more than anything, but it's always fun to watch those athletes. So for me, I will compete, and when I'm done competing finally, and I can let that sigh of relief out, then I'll just kind of focus on what everyone else is doing and take in the moment and really enjoy it.
How will you prepare all week? And you mentioned you're already eyeing, and you sort of knew going in 6:10 would be sort of the marker that you would want to shoot for to be able to win it next week. What will your week of preparation be like? How will you get prepared for next Saturday?
It's going to be a long week, that's for sure. Going to be focusing a lot on technique right now and explosive training just to get myself prepared for this upcoming week. But, I mean, the key is not to overdo it. You don't want to go in thinking, I got to train for 6:10, I got to outdo everything, and then end up hurting yourself. So you got to be smart about your training going into a championship week. So I'm just definitely looking to get some hard work in early in the week and then maybe rest up for the end of the week.
Kind of balancing that hard work with the rest that is so important. You kind of shut it down once you get towards Thursday and Friday. How does that work?
Yeah, you don't shut it down completely. You got to keep those legs active.
Sure.
So I mean, I'll definitely be doing some simple explosive exercises, but nothing too weight bearing, just so I don't hurt myself. But I mean, I'm definitely just looking to take a little weight off the legs there at the end of the week and prepare myself for Saturday.
Rest day today after the win last night, or do you head right back into the training today?
Absolutely. Today's my off day. I do about one every 7 days. I'll take an off day, especially after a meet. That's a good day to take an off day and rest.
And then you'll train a little bit tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be training tomorrow I think tomorrow's going to be a hard day, so it'll be a weight-bearing day.
Weight-bearing day tomorrow. Yeah. Well, good luck, Kevin. Congratulations. Third straight victory in the high jump in the Division IV championships last night. And we talked about at the beginning of the interview. That would have been going through my head the whole time. I won it as a sophomore or junior. I have to win as a senior, right? I have to. I would have thought that probably added a little bit to it for you last night. And a little bit, maybe, I don't know, you tell me, as excited as you were your sophomore and junior year, was it a little more relief your senior year, or was it just as exciting?
I think it was more relief junior year. Yeah.
I would think.
Yeah, sophomore year is more unexpected. I didn't quite go in thinking, I'm going to beat all these kids. And then all of a sudden I did. And then junior year, I was like, you know what? I did it once. I can do it again. And then this year's like, all right, I got to live up to that. So, yeah, it's exciting. Well,
Kevin, congratulations to you and the entire team, too. And those are your teammates who competed last night as well. Good luck next week in the All-States. That's just fantastic. We'll certainly be watching closely, and all the standout track stars from around the league around the area that will be competing in the All-States at the Reggie Lewis Center tomorrow morning. We hope you don't get too early a time. Maybe you can push that bus or drive time back to 8 or 9 in the morning would be nice, but it sounds like you'll be part of that early crew.
Yeah. I mean, hey, I would love a nice or later bus like that.
Yeah, a little bit later bus. Well, congratulations, Kevin. Thank you so much for coming in studio. It was great to meet you and speak with you. Good luck at Assumption. Hopefully we'll plan to talk with you in the spring if you're around once the season gets going as well for Nipmuc, the spring season. Boy, this next couple of days with weather, you must be like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
How early do you guys got to start running for spring track?
I think it's the third week in March, so it's coming up.
Well, let's get this cold weather over with, so you're not out there running in the horribleness too late in the season of March. Nipmuc's Kevin Hack, the winner last night with a 6'4" jump over at the Division IV championships at the Reggie Lewis Center. Kevin wins it last night for the third straight year in the high jump, and he'll compete next Saturday in the All-States. Kevin, thanks so much for the time today, and good luck next weekend and going forward.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.